You're listening to the VA Claims Authority. I'm Gary, Air Force veteran, VA disability claims strategist, and the guy who got denied, fought back, and won. I'm here to make sure the VA doesn't leave you behind. Whether you're filing your first claim or fighting your fifth appeal, this is your briefing. Let's get into it. Hook. If the VA calls your brain injury mild, that label doesn't automatically mean you get zero benefits. In fact, some studies estimate roughly 15 to 20% of troops in recent conflicts experienced at least one mild TBI, and many of those injuries never made it into official records. That gap is where claims fail, not because the injury wasn't real, but because the evidence wasn't built the right way. Promise. In the next 10 minutes, I'll give you a kitchen table roadmap. The exact forms and records to pull, the objective tests the VA will credit, how to describe your symptoms at the C&P so the examiner writes a useful nexus, and one concrete task you can finish today that moves your claim forward. No fluff, just what wins. Section 1, the basics and the evidence map. First, definitions. Mild TBI, often called a concussion in civilian care, is an injury to the brain caused by a blow, blast, or sudden acceleration-deceleration. Symptoms can be headaches, memory and concentration problems, slow thinking, dizziness, and sensory sensitivity. For VA service connection, you need three things. 1, an in-service event, injury, or aggravation. 2, a current diagnosis or consistent symptoms. And 3, a nexus linking the current condition to the in-service event. The forms that start this are VA Form 21 to 526 EZ to file the claim, and VA Form 21-4142 to authorize release of private or civilian records. Start with these files. Service treatment records, STRs, deployment after action reports, unit incident logs, DD 214, and separation paperwork pages, any battalion or flight logs, and immediate post-event medical care, sick call notes, ER records, or ambulance run sheets. If STRs are thin, contemporaneous non-medical documentation matters. Buddy statements, unit duty logs, command safety reports, and even flight or motor vehicle mishap reports timestamp and in-service event. When STRs are missing, a clear one-page incident timeline with dates, locations, and who was there becomes your bridge. That single timeline is one of the highest impact pieces of evidence you can create early. Section 2, objective testing that counts and how to get it documented. Mild TBI often looks normal on a standard CT or MRI that's common, so the VA leans on functional and cognitive testing and specialty reports. Tests that carry weight. A formal neuropsychological evaluation with standardized test scores and interpretation. Cognitive screening tools recorded in the chart like the MoCA or other validated instruments. The Neurobehavioral Symptom Inventory, NSI, or symptom inventories used by polytrauma centers. And functional assessments that show real-world impact. Work performance reports, vocational evaluations, or ADL, activities of daily living assessments. Advanced imaging, such as diffusion tensor imaging, DTI, or susceptibility-weighted imaging can help in select private or academic settings, but these are supplementary. They rarely replace a neuropsychological report. How to get them? Ask your primary care or PCM for a neurology or neuropsychology referral through the VA. If you use private care, get a full neuropsych eval and ask the clinician to include testing scores, percentiles, interpretation, and a clear statement about functional limitations. Make sure every report answers what deficits exist, how severe they are, when they started, and whether they are consistent with the reported in-service event. Objective numbers beat vague language, include test scores and clear examples of how deficits affect daily life. Section 3, C&P prep, common examiner traps, and secondary conditions. The C&P exam is where claims live or die, so prepare like it's a job interview. Describe concrete examples, not medical labels alone. Say, since the glass on March 12, 2010, I have trouble remembering appointments. I need written notes to follow steps at work, and I get headaches 3 to 4 times a week that knock me out for hours. Those words create a timeline and functional impact. Useful phrases for nexus. Symptoms began after date/event. Symptoms have continued since, and I have needed medical care for these issues since then. Avoid minimizing language like, it wasn't a big deal, or absolutes like, I never had problems afterwards, if you did. Common traps. Don't let an examiner frame everything as stress or aging without first documenting continuity from the in-service event. Your timeline and contemporaneous notes stop that. Bring buddy statements that confirm the incident and early symptoms. For secondary conditions, headaches, sleep problems, mood changes, PTSD, document separate symptoms and treatment. Headaches are often rated separately and can be secondary to TBI. Sleep disorders can be evaluated with sleep studies. Mental health conditions should have diagnostic statements tying onset or worsening to the TBI where applicable. For combined ratings, make sure each condition has its own supporting medical nexus or clear linkage in a treating provider's note. Action step. Do this right now. Download VA Form 21 to 526EZ, fill out Section A with your basic info and claim type, and attach a one-page incident timeline. On that timeline, list the dates of the event, unit/location, what happened in plain language, and one contemporaneous medical or non-medical record line. For example, the 12th of March 2010, vehicle rollover off base, reported to battalion aid station. Sick call note shows headache and confusion. Include anybody names and a contact method if available. Upload the form and timeline to va.gov or eBenefits Today, or submit it at your local VARO. This creates an official claim file and gets the ball rolling while you gather longer-term tests and neuropsych reports.